The search is finally over after searching and searching and searching and researching, studying, learning about a fragrance inspired by the olive tree or the fruit on the olive tree. I finally found the fragrance that I really, really love that's inspired by olives. That fragrance is a fragrance from Bottega Veneta from their Parco Palladiano collection of fragrances called Ex Olivo, this one right here. I'm going to tell you all about this fragrance because I'm in love with it because, as I said, I've been searching and searching for probably as long as I've been doing videos for YouTube fragrance reviews, going back to 2012. This is it. I've found it. If you like the idea of an olive fragrance, then stick around to watch my review about Bottega Veneta's Ex Olivo from the Parco Palladiano collection. You watched a video inspired by the Mediterranean yesterday, Arancia de Sicilia from the Paris Monte Carlo collection of fragrances inspired by the blood orange. Here we have another Mediterranean fruit, something that I very, very feel close to. This is a staple in my family, the fruit of olives. Olives were consumed, and it's one of my favorite things to eat. Even as a kid, going back to being a little kid, I sat around a little bowl of olives and I would just eat them. Anyway, and as I was saying, I've been looking and looking for a fragrance inspired by the olive. Could be the fruit, could be the tree, could be the leaves, all of that. It's something that I really, really feel close to just because of the fact that I'm from the Mediterranean, Middle East Mediterranean, and olives were a staple in my family, and it's here. I found it. It is from a house called Bottega Veneta, a high-end fashion house, and it's from their high-end collection of, you know, more private or exclusive collection of fragrances like Chanel Exclusives or Dior Privé and things like that. So this is a collection called Parco Palladiano, and this is Ex Olivo, and this is a perfume created by Amandine Clerc, I think it's Marie, that's her last name. It is on the pricier side. It's $300 for 100 ml, but I've seen these fragrances at discounters, so I think if you have a Bottega Veneta store near you, you can go smell these, and I believe I've seen them on Saks Fifth Avenue's website as well, and I highly recommend it, especially if you are one that's looking for a fragrance inspired by the olive, because it took me a long time. I remember when I first started looking, going back to about 6-7 years prior to me looking, I think L'Occitane had something inspired by olives. In fact, I was buying their body wash, olive body wash, but they completely discontinued that whole collection. I don't think they have ever had a fragrance, but ever since then I've been on the hunt, and this is it. But what do we have for notes here for Bottega Veneta's Ex Olivo? They have only 2 notes listed. According to a website, it said there's green olive accord, and then there's woody notes. So after wearing the fragrance, I do pick up the olive leaves and the tree. The way this tree smells, and the fact that the tree attracts a lot of dust, so the leaves are covered in dust, you definitely get that with this one. But when you're smelling the fragrance, you do pick up the olives, you do pick up the tree, and of course the leaves, but there's a lot of different green notes added in here that come through. So one of the things that I think that is also very unique about the olive, in fact as a smell, the olive tree, if you are a fan of fig, especially the green fig variety rather than the fruity fig variety, then this is something you would definitely like, because you get lots of green notes, leaves, ivy, you know, twigs, and everything surrounding the tree of the fig tree, but then you get like little hints of the olive fruit in here as well. So there is a slight bitter quality to this, because if you don't know anything about olives, you can't just bite into olives when you pick them off the fruit, because they're very, very bitter. They have to be cured, and then you get that bitterness here. But there's also, in addition to that bitterness, there is a sweetness in it. So you get lots of green notes. There's a lot of, what do you call it, accords coming in and out. It's very, very woody, so it's a very, very woody experience, but it's not that, like, you're not going to smell full-on cedar or full-on sandalwood. It's more blended with the greenness, so it's a kind of like a green woody note rather than just straight in your face kind of a cedar or sandalwood note. So it's that kind. Then, you know, when you're wearing the fragrance, you also get some hints of vetiver, because there's a very earthy quality about this fragrance. It's ultra earthy, and I find olive, the tree in itself, not necessarily the fruit, but just the general olive tree, a very, very earthy smell. There's a little bit of like a slight dirty underlying dirt rather than dirty, like animalic dirty is what I'm referring to. I'm not referring to animalic is what I'm saying. More like an earthy, dirty kind of a smell to the olive tree itself. But the leaves, and then of course the blossoms, there's blossoms all when before they're becoming fruit. You can smell this kind of like sweeter, kind of a unique experience from the smell of the tree. And of course the fruit themselves has a really, really unique smell that I really love. My family cured olives, and we ate olives all the time. So I just love that smell. And actually picking olives, my dad loved, to grow them and pick them and of course cure them. And I remember as a kid I used to pick them with him. And you get to love that smell. You love that kind of a smell. In fact, to this day I'm obsessed with the way olive oil smells and of course tastes. I take tablespoons of them and eat them just before dinner or something because I just love the way that bitter kind of creamy oily flavor of the olive oil is, and it's something that I've been looking for quite the longest time, and it's quite amazing that I've discovered it. And this is a collection that I don't know too much about, but I want to explore because I saw some fragrances that really, really intrigued me from this house. There's many, it's a big collection. And I want to explore this collection. Again, it is on the pricier side, and unfortunately it is, but sometimes when you're finding or looking for a fragrance that you've been looking for and you finally found it, and sometimes when you find it, you think in your mind, you don't even care how much it costs. Well, of course I care, because I'm not going to spend $600 for something like this. But I thought, drawing the line at around $300 was okay. In fact, this is actually less expensive in Europe. I think it was about 220 or 210 pounds at Harrods when I saw the collection there. It's just they're on the pricier side here anyway. But if you're looking for something that's kind of sort of related to the fig fragrance family, one thing I want to mention also, this has a very vegetal-fruity combo quality. Vegetal, I mean, there's this vegetable-y kind of vegetal quality to it. It's very, very savory. But then when you're smelling that savory vegetable-y kind of a smell, there's this underlying sweetness, and I think that's either coming from the fact that they're probably trying to create this accord that not only smells like the leaves of the olive and the twigs and the tree itself, but probably also the fruit and even the blossoms, because it is bitter and vegetally, but it also sweet fruity a little bit. Not overly fruity, just the right amount of fruitiness, and just I'm obsessed with the way this smells. I put it on me. It's not a screamer, it's not a loud fragrance, but the longevity is really, really great quality. It does last. It doesn't like overperform, but it's also not a wimp. If I was going to say how long it lasted, I'm saying it's about 6.5 hours, which is kind of awesome because the way it smells, it doesn't smell like this big hunkin' piece of beef like you smell when you spray some fragrances. It's not that kind of a fragrance. It doesn't spray really loudly, it doesn't act really loudly, but the fragrance lingers on, and it's that kind of a fragrance I think I want when I want an olive fragrance. I don't want it to be like really beast mode, if that makes sense. But one more thing I want to mention, I keep forgetting to mention, there's a lot to say about this fragrance because I really, really do love it. This is kind of like the alternative to your summer freshie. So if you like summer fragrances and you want some little twist, you don't want to just keep going with the same fragrance, like the same citrus fragrance, or something that's kind of similar to that Aventus woody, fruity kind of fragrance. You want something green, something a little kind of earthy, a little herbaceous a little bit, a little ozonic. The other thing I was going to say was this has a very ozonic kind of an experience. Just visualize when it's a dry day, not raining, and just before it starts raining, there's this kind of a transition of smell in the air. It does have that kind of an interesting development of the smell in here. So if you like that, because I really love the way the earth smells when it's kind of like, it's been dry, and then it's like slowly kind of creeping into to be raining, and then you pick up this moisture, this ozonic kind of smell. You get that with this one a lot. So that's very, very unique about this fragrance. And once again, it's one of those fragrances I've been looking for quite a long time, and I finally found it. And again, it's a great alternative to your typical summer fragrances. You're going with something very, very unique, smelling like olive tree, and it's quite awesome. It doesn't smell like olive oil, guys. I did mention the olive oil. It smells like the green tree and the fruit and the flowers and the leaves. So check it out. This is Bottega Veneta's Ex Olivo from the Parco Palladiano collection. If you have any place to go sample it, please do. Here in San Francisco, we have the Bottega Veneta boutique is where I've sampled these fragrances, but some Saks Fifth Avenue stores do carry it. And I think Bloomingdale's is also a store that carries this brand. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please let me know if you like the idea of olive fragrance. Does that sound great to you, or is it not something you enjoy? And also let me know, do you like figs or the fig fragrances? Some of you do like those, and I'm obsessed with fig fragrances. And as I said again earlier, if you like those kind of fragrances, you're definitely going to like these because they have this green, slightly vegetal, slightly fruity kind of a quality. Anyway, thanks so much for watching this video. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.